Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Guitaristas. So as you can see, I'm lounging today. I'm lounging in relative comfort in our downstairs studio. Main reason being it's a bit cold in the UK now, a bit chilly as we say, minus something or other outside, and it's warmer down here basically. So yeah, I thought I'd move down here for the next few weeks actually. We're crashing into the holiday season now with Christmas just around the corner. So what I thought I'd do is take my foot off the gas a little bit, lounge around a bit, put some warm clothes on and do a roundup. Yeah. What my plan is, I'm going to do a roundup of everything that's happened this year. And by golly, it's a lot happened this year. A lot of guitars have come through that door. Yeah, believe me. And a few of them have gone out, not many, not many. I have sold a few, but I've bought loads, okay? And I've also modified a few. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun and it's been busy. And I thought, take my foot off the gas a little bit. Let's take a little bit of time over the next couple of weeks to reflect on what has happened and take a little look back in a kind of it's kind of one of those talking head style shows, that they have on the telly, where celebrities come in and they sort of butt in with their paid opinion on what they've just seen. Well, it's a little bit different because it's just me on this, okay? And I'm not getting paid. Well, I suppose I am, but not very much for this. So it's what I actually think, okay? Not what I'm told to think. And as you know, all of this stuff I paid for with money, real money. No one gave it to me. So some of it is a little bit moany because if I don't like something, I tend to say it out loud rather than sort of keep it to myself. So yeah, some of it you will find a little bit, ooh, what's he complaining about that for? That's nothing. Well, it's just because of what I thought at the time. A lot of it is really upbeat though. A lot of it's going to be fun. So yeah, so I suppose really the best thing to do is start and see what happens. I thought the best place to start was actually back in January when I bought my first guitar of 2022, and it's an SG. Yeah, take a look at this. No better way to start the year, is there? New year, new guitar, and it's an SG. There's no doubt this is a good idea. Epiphone collaboration with Gibson Custom Shop. It's got Gibson burst bucker pickups in it, smart wiring, a hard case, and a higher price tag, of course. So I thought, oh, crikey, that's really pushing it. I can't possibly pay £749 for an Epiphone SG. It's almost a year to the day when this model was released. It actually seems quite good value, doesn't it? In line with current Epiphone pricing strategy, shall we say? Given the high price tag, I was a bit fussy and had a little bit of moan about the fit and finish and a couple of things in particular. For me, it's the elephant in the room. The lower bevel on the back, it stops. It's kind of like they gave up, didn't bother going all the way around. I'm pretty certain that should go all the way around there. Okay, and with regard to that whole bevel thing, I showed pictures of three or maybe four original 1961 Les Paul SGs. Yet still people disagree with me and tell me that the Epiphone is actually vintage correct. But it's a great guitar. It's definitely a great guitar. It plays great. It sounds great. It's a real deal. And it's a fraction of the cost of the Gibson equivalent. So if you got one, you know, cherish it. Weird bevel and all, okay? I'm just sorry if I spoiled it a little bit for you, okay? Sorry. Now, what I'm going to do with this roundup of stuff I've done over the next few weeks is group the guitars together in some kind of vague themes, okay? So SG to start. So we'll carry on with the SG theme, okay? In August, I think it was in August or in the summer, I made a film, I suppose, about looping. I don't know, it was mucking around really. It gave me an opportunity to dig out my SG Junior, or this SG Junior from 1969, and at the same time introduce the novel concept of arse looping. Have a look at this. Loopers. This is what I started with, and it's still my favourite. I use this at home all the time for practice. It's the original Ditto looper. All it does is 5 minutes of loop, but that's more than enough for you to just put down some chords to jam over on your own. The downside of the Ditto is you really need to use your foot to operate it, and you probably need a shoe on as well. It hurts if you try it with bare feet. And obviously, if you're going to do any arse looping like we're doing today, or use any other alternative body parts, that won't work so well. It's something that I invented, actually, purely by accident at that moment, because I couldn't get my leg up that high. This morning I was thinking of this. I don't know what it is. Could be anything really, but let's put that down. There you go. That's all there is to it. And then you can noodle over the top. Find your key. It's a lovely guitar, that Junior, isn't it? 1969, so all of that checking, that's real. It's not manufactured. It happened, that. Lovely guitar. SGs, I love them. I bought another one. I bought another SG Special. I did say I wasn't, well, a while back I said I wasn't going to buy another new Gibson. Actually, I've broken that promise a couple of times since then. But another black new Gibson, how could that go wrong? The last black Gibson that I bought, the Les Paul Junior, that I still own. Hang on, it's this one, I'll show you. This one here, that I fondly call Scratch, because when I opened this, it had, it still has got fine scratches all over it and all sorts of finish issues, you know, wire wall marks and stuff. You won't be able to see them probably now, but they're there. So part of the reason I bought this was the gas I gave in. Also partly to see if the paint had the same sort of issues as old Scratch, as I did describe in the film. The important thing, there aren't any scratches on this one at all. No scratches whatsoever. Okay, it's a virgin guitar. It hasn't been handled. It's come out of a box, so it ain't been played, hasn't been handled. It's got no scratches on it whatsoever. However, and there is a however, as I said earlier, I have to be honest in these films. I really wanted that guitar. I wanted that guitar to be perfect, and unfortunately, yet again, it wasn't, and I had a bit of a moan about it. Black nitrocellulose does show all of the imperfections underneath the paint, i.e. in the, you know, the body blank before it was painted. And as I can see immediately on this one, And as was the same with scratch, you can see kind of a waviness to the finish underneath, which is just weird. It's kind of an uneven thing. You can't see it in normal light. You probably can't see that at all. It probably looks like a perfect mirror finish to you. But at certain angles, and I know even this will, see if I can't even get that in a light at the moment. Let me just adjust the light and see if that all works. You can see what I mean, I think, in that shot. See what I mean? It's a bit weird, isn't it? See that? Yes. There you go. They had meant to be improving QC. I'd say that is a QC thing. It's not a great finish. The paint, the lines on this are a bit weird as well. These are the things I don't like about this guitar. Let's just get it all out of the way. The lines aren't great, on the cutaways and stuff. Again, I'll try and show you what I mean. They're just they're not right. There's a little bit of a, looks like they put too much paint on. It looks like the body's shaped a little bit sloppily and they put too much paint on to cover up the blemishes underneath. Apart from that, it's really cool, isn't it? And I feel sorry for other people that have bought them and aren't necessarily looking for those faults, which I clearly was. And they're easy to ignore if you're not looking for them, but I was looking for them. So if you've got one, sorry if I spoilt it. Now, if you thought I moaned about that one, the next SG, if we can call it an SG, it's kind of vaguely SG shaped. Well, it's this. I've got the SG one here, mini SG, and of course there's a mini Les Paul, isn't there? You'll be familiar with these. They're all over that YouTube at the moment, with people, saying how brilliant they are. Well, I'm going to take a look as well with maybe a slightly more cynical point of view than some of the other retailers that have reviewed it. Now, I confess, I did buy that guitar specifically to take a close look at it, not because it was something I wanted. I didn't want one of them, but I bought it to look at it because there'd been so much hype over, YouTube, with retailers doing glowing reviews and Epiphone putting out all this high puff about how brilliant it is because it's a forever guitar. So, I wanted to ask the question, is that true or is it just an expensive toy? Play there. the tuning stability is not great, I've got to be honest. And whilst it did sound okay, it didn't stay in tune, so I said so. I'm just not convinced that a shorter scale guitar and a scaled down guitar like this is the best idea for beginners. I think a teenager wouldn't want this because he'd look like a toy. You know, so I think, you know, 7 to 10 maybe, you might get away with it, but I think a 7-year-old, you know, once he's, you know, they learn so quickly, they would outgrow this very, very quickly, I imagine, and want something a little bit more authentic, I suppose, or bigger. Want something bigger. Want a proper guitar. Yeah, it's more a toy than a proper guitar. There you go, I've said it. I didn't mean to say that, it just kind of came out. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. All I can say is, if you got one or you bought one as a present for your kid, I'm sorry if I spoilt it. Now let's get stuck into some Les Pauls. Start with this one. Tokai, Love Rock. Obviously Les Paul knockoff. I really like this guitar and said so. It just feels really comfortable to play, to be honest with you. It sounds really nice. It's got this real nice snap to it open, as you heard. And it plays really well. I like to think that was reflected in my playing today. Might not be, it might be as rubbish as normal, but you know, I can dream, can't I? So this is my first Tokai. This is a Chinese one. God, I mean, I paid less than 400 quid for this. I don't think they're making Chinese ones anymore. That's what I hear. I do fancy, I very much fancy a Japanese Tokai, but they're pretty pricey. They can actually cost as much or even more than the Gibson Les Pauls. Can you believe that? So I liked pretty much everything about this guitar, except for maybe I thought the pickups and wiring was what it let it down. It felt great, as I said. So several weeks later, I went on and I started filming a fairly in-depth upgrade series. I think it was 3 episodes. So I'll show you some of that. I'm chuckling because I'm quite excited. Well, I'm scared, quite frankly. I'm scared of what is ahead of me now, what I've decided to do today. What I've decided to do today is start a big upgrade series on the Tokai Les Paul Gold Top, this one here. So yeah, we got into it all. I changed the tailpiece and the bushings, the bridge. I mucked around with different sound tests, and then I tackled the wiring. So you have to desolder this and then put it back on once you've fed the wires through. So that's what I'm going to do now. I've never done this before, by the way. They're all through. Pretty straightforward. The labels as well. I'm going to get the labels. If you lose the labels, you're buggered. Yeah, they're both coming through. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Whoops. Don't tell me I should have put that in first. It did all come together in the end. I'll put a link in the description box to the series. Okay, so if you've got a few hours to kill and you want a good laugh at me making mistakes on your behalf, check it out. But the guitar, you know, I did finish it, and here it is now. These are the, for those that watched it, or those that care, or those that will watch it and care, it ended up with the Mad Murray PAFs in it, and oh yeah, the brass saddle bridge. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. And it's a fantastic guitar, and it's a keeper. It's a keeper. Yeah, hanging on to this one. And then back in March, I bought actually probably the first new Gibson of the year. I bought this Les Paul Tribute. I am Denard. You know, I've seen a few reviews of this Honeyburst one, and I thought, well, that looks cool. And I did think it looked really good. I've got to say that in close up, I was a little bit disappointed because it doesn't really pop as much as I imagined it might. This looks a little bit poo brown, really, doesn't it? Yeah, I did say that. I was umming and ahhing for quite a while, trying to decide whether to get the Tribute or the Studio. Studio's a little bit more expensive. Anyway, I went for the Tribute in the end, but then, well, lo and behold, just a few weeks later, I thought, oh, sod it, I'll get the Studio as well. And guess what? I got an ebony one. I can hardly believe it myself. This, of course, as you saw in the thumbnail, is the Les Paul Studio. Ebony, as you can clearly see. Lovely looking guitar, isn't it? There is a poker chip, but it's not here, obviously not on the guitar. It's in this lovely gig bag that it comes with. These are really nice, these gig bags. And somewhere in that pocket is the poker chip. So all you've got to do is find it and then wrestle with that for quite a while, trying to work out how you're going to unscrew that with your bare hands without making your fingers bleed. And the other thing about this guitar is it's black. And now a little while, actually about a year ago now, time flies, I bought a gloss black nitrocellulose Les Paul Junior from Peach Guitars. Now there's a video on the channel, that whole story. That guitar came with scratches all over it. Very fine, very fine
blah, 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 blah.
There I am, banging on again about scratches. Anyway, both of these guitars are great. Yeah, loved them both. Both great, affordable ways to get into Gibson Les Paul ownership. I'm guessing a lot of people had same dilemma that I had, trying to decide between the two. So then what I thought I'd do is, you know, do a thorough comparison. Okay, let's put these neck profiles and measurements up on the screen here, side by side, so you can compare them. They don't feel a huge amount of difference. I mean, it's not that the tribute is fat. It's just kind of a little bit fatter than the studio. But you know, you'll have a preference. And this is definitely something that can, like with me, it informed the decision for which one to buy. Which one to buy first, anyway. So yeah, both great guitars. These have both gone to better homes now. I would have kept them both. I wish I had really, but you can't keep them all. And I've already got a couple of other Les Pauls with Gibson on the headstock. So it was an easy decision. They were very quickly snapped up by eager new owners. So they're being looked after and played as they should be. And of course, I've now got an excuse to go and buy them again in different colours at some time in the future. And don't put that past me, I'm telling you. So then after those, I looked at something the other end of the price range for Les Pauls. This one. It's another one from the vintage brand. This is the V100 MR Distressed Lemon Drop, okay? And as you might be able to tell from the flipped pickup here, this is a homage, if you like, an unofficial tribute, or a knockoff, if you like, of the famous Greenie Moore Sunburst Les Paul. What they've done on this guitar is they have given it an out of phase sound, and it's like this. Quite nice. It's quite nice. Yeah, quite nice. Way better than that, actually. Also, for a guitar in this price range, it had quite a few hidden surprises. Not all of them I was complimentary about. Let's have a look under these things. So as you can see, that's really tidy, and it's got a long neck tenon. So not only has it got apparently a one-piece neck, it's also got a long neck tenon as well. No, it's a lot going on in there. It's quite messy. It's got these mini little pots in there, and big blobs of solder. It's got they look what I'd describe as bin ties holding the wire together. That's interesting. Minor niggles aside, you know, QC on these vintage, the brand guitars can be a little bit hit and miss. Some areas they're great, some areas they're a bit okay. But they're great fun, affordable, knockabout guitars. You know, just go and play them, don't worry about them. They sound great and they're cheap. to me this year was the Eastman brand. I bought a couple of junior style, the 55DC and the 55SC. They're coming up maybe next week or the week after. But I was so taken aback, taken away. I was nowhere I was taken, but I was taken somewhere. I was impressed with Eastman. So I had a bit of an ongoing gas attack and eventually gave in and bought this. You can tell I'm excited, can't you? I'll show you on the overhead shot. Man. So here it is. SB59V. Antique varnish, that stands for the V, that's the finish. This wasn't cheap, this guitar, so I'd actually gone to an actual shop and tried it. And the minute I picked it up, it just felt amazing. They just feel fantastic, these guitars. Fabulously tactile feel. It feels just beautiful. It feels like a really old guitar. It really does. And that's all I can say. Something about this guitar made me fall in love with it very quickly and bond with it in a way that I've never experienced with any Gibson Les Paul that I've ever owned. Decided to compare it with my Les Paul Standard 50s, which I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with, really. So I've had this Gibson about 18 months now, featured it on the channel in several films over that time. And I've said, you know, it's a great guitar. You know, no two ways about it, it's a great guitar. However, for whatever reason, I've never really bonded with it to the extent where, I play it very much, really. I just don't pick it up and play it very often. And when I do, I don't play it for very long. I put it down again and pick up something else. I don't really know why that is. I guess I was hoping this would help me understand why the Eastman felt so much better, really. You know, what was it? Something simple like the weight, maybe? £8 11 ounces, which is of course 3.94 kilos. So it's a really nice weight for a Gibson Les Paul. One of the things I really liked about this. And the Eastman, £7 9 ounces, 3.45 kilos, which is one of the things I really liked about the Eastman. Fantastic weight. Or maybe the neck profile or the finish. Now looking at the necks, the Eastman, they don't give this a name. It's just definitely a C shape. It feels lovely because of the finish, because of the antique varnish finish. This neck feels beautiful. The Gibson Vintage 50s profile, they call this. Again, it's a C, it's a nice handful. It's sticky, it's got that real stickiness. Or maybe it's the way that I feel about Gibson, the brand. There's just something about Gibson, the brand, that I find quite distasteful in 2022. The marketing bullshit, you know, some of the products that they're getting involved in, you know, ridiculously expensive limited edition guitars that no one can afford. but investors. It doesn't mean anything to me. There doesn't appear to be any humility in the way that they present themselves. I do think that clouds my judgment. I do think it clouds my judgment. And when you add to that the high prices and the QC issues that many of us have experienced and continue to experience, there's always that question mark, isn't there? But whatever it is, I don't necessarily think that film helped. I think it might have actually even raised more questions than it answered. So my love-hate relationship with Gibson continues, and no doubt will be a theme through next year. For now, I think we need to wind this up. We've reviewed a lot of guitars this year, so there was no way we were going to get them into one episode. Going to be a couple more, okay? I mean, this week, what we've covered, SGs and Les Pauls, and that wasn't even all the Les Pauls. I've saved one for next week, okay? Next week, I'm going to loosely theme it, I think. Something like 12 affordable guitars for Christmas, because I can, I suppose. So come back, same time, same place next week, and find out what they are, eh? Yeah, look forward to it. Thank you very much for joining me, as always. See you next week, I hope. All right? Cheers for now. Ta-da.